The godfather of the West Coast, now you know. With Dusty Vision on the side, we ride. Taking you back to where legends came alive. From ruthless roots to the studio scene. Classic tales that the world's never seen. Every Tuesday night we spark the heat. From 6 to 7, history on repeat. So sit back, tap in, and enjoy the vibe. If you love hip-hop, like and subscribe.
From the West Coast to the East Coast and everything between, folks. It's from Eve After Dark to concerts in the parking lot with your boy Lonzo, Godfather of West Coast hip hop. None other, my man, my ride or die. What's up, Dusty?
Lonzo, what's good, my man? How you feeling this week, man?
Oh man, just making it happen, Doc. Just making it happen. I've been
okay.
For the past 4 or 5 days. I've been I put so much stuff together. I feel like it's Christmas around this joint.
My man, always doing something, dog.
That's what I do, man. When I get in the mood, I just start fixing stuff. Fixing gates today and put together a new chair and a table and cleaning my studio. I got things in my mind. My son's in the hospital, man, so he's still in the hospital. So I kind of take my mind off my oldest son who's dealing with double pneumonia, and it's just been a rough. It's been about 2 weeks now, man. It's been back and forth. So just kind of. It don't stop, but you can't take your mind. It's hard to take your mind off of it. So let's do what we got to do.
Yeah, man. Well, let's take our mind off of it for about an hour, have some laughs, talk some hip hop history, and kick it with our chat. Definitely good to see everybody. Hit that like button before you guys get too comfortable. That's all we ask. All right, it's Martin Luther King Day. Lonzo, MLK. Let's talk a little bit about MLK. He's been a topic of discussion on our show a few times, but no better than the present now. Let's take it back, Lonzo. Back then, we've talked about before that there was the Malcolm X side of people, people who were riding with Malcolm, others that were siding with Martin. What were some of the things about Martin that people liked? And what are some things that people in your generation disliked?
They liked him because he was a preacher. That was the first thing. In fact, he was a preacher, a young preacher. For some people, that was a good thing. And for other people, by him being a young preacher, that was a problem. Okay, they think he might not have known enough to stay in line. And for those who didn't like the fact he was a young guy, and those who did like the fact he was a young guy, thought it was great because he had the energy to go out there and protest. And you have people that have some people are set in their old ways no matter what happens, and progress can scare them. And they see somebody coming up young that is speaking a different language or speaking in a good way, but being some people could call it back then a troublemaker. Could be labeled a troublemaker. That's the same thing as today, folks. He's a what's the word they had today? Come on, y'all.
Troll. Wait, what we look? Not troll.
Well, we'll
like shaking shit up type. Okay, go ahead.
We'll come back to it. But yeah, a lot of folks tend to think that because he was speaking in a certain way, and it wasn't until he changed his direction. That's what start talking about economics. That's when everything went left for him. A lot of people talking about doing certain things and turn the other cheek and let the dogs bite you in the butt and all that right there. That was good because they don't have no resistance. But when they start messing with the money, now we got a problem.
I know you were a little too young to, probably understand it fully, but when do you remember the conspiracy coming out that he was taken out by the government? Was that a thing that hit right away? Do you know if it, came years later?
It came, well, first it was just the guy, just the one lone shooter, but it was always suspicious about the people on the platform with him. That's always been a back conversation amongst the elders. There was a few people on that balcony that day. Jesse and I think Abernathy was on that thing too as well. A few people were on that balcony or in that room that day that people had their suspicions about. I'm not going to do nothing else. I believe it alone just like that. But people had conversations. And then later on, it got a little bit more as time progressed. It seemed that it was more aware that there was some government involvement as well.
Today we have Jesse Jackson, we have Al Sharpton, but many Black folks would agree that they were not able to fill Martin Luther King's shoes. Do you agree with that, first of all? And secondly, do you think there will ever be another Martin Luther King? And what are your general thoughts on Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton?
Man, I've seen both. I've seen Al, and I've got a picture with Al. We're from New York. I got a picture with Al, and I've seen Al in Compton. He don't know me, but I've been right next to him. I've seen him. There was a shooting in Compton where some sheriffs shot like 100 and some times in a neighborhood. A guy was just cruising, and the cops, he was trying to get home, and they pinned him in this SUV, and they shot in. It was a Black neighborhood in Compton, and the sheriff was shooting in this car, and bullets was flying at people's houses through windows. And first person they called was Al. And I watched this. I saw this with my own 2 eyes. I saw them give Al a big fat ass envelope when they got out the car. That was some paperwork. That was some thick ass paperwork. Dude, I ain't got a lot of kicking. Okay, I might have the footage because I was videotaping back then. I've been videotaping stuff in Compton for a long time, and that's when Sheriff Baca was the big wig in the sheriff department. And Al pulled up in a town car, and they shook his hand. And before he hit the sidewalk, the envelope was passed, and he made his evaluation, and he made a little speech. And he was there about 25, 30 minutes, looked around, and it's like somebody had to call somebody to cool these people down for it got set off. And that's what happens. That's what looks like happens in a lot of situations. Some people are called who are respected by the masses to diffuse any potential uprising. And that's in like one of them situations to me.
Jesse was one of those guys that was around back then with Martin. What was the general consensus of Jesse back then? Was he a known figure like, Martin was? When did he really become in the limelight?
I think he came into the limelight after Martin was killed. And because he was a lot more active. Jesse would be out, he'd be at concerts, stuff like that. I remember Jesse was at the Watch Stacks, and I was 16 years old. He was at Watch Stacks, and Jesse got on the mic. They cut this out.
You got to tell that story. While we're here, we've told it before, but you got to tell that story.
They cut this out. Okay, I was there. I'm 16 years old. My first concert cost $1. Go to the Watch Stacks right there at the Coliseum. Isaac Hayes was the headliner. Dramatics, Staple Singers, Joe Tex, Rufus Thomas. One of them, Rufus Thomas. It was a whole Stax label. Dramatics was there. Dramatics was on a Stax at that time. And the big problem with the thing was the football team played a game the next day. That's when they had real grass. And they didn't want to mess the field up. They didn't want anybody dancing on the field. So as soon as the music started playing, folks run down to the field. And they kept having to stop the concert because folks is hard-headed. Folks is locking and doing all kinds of stuff. As soon as the band started playing, then Jesse had the bright idea to have the Crips create a human line around the track of the Coliseum field. And they did. A bunch of men. Now, I ain't saying everybody was no Crips, but folks were signing up on the spot that day. It looked like they were signing up that day, enlisting that day in the Crips, because it was a bunch of brothers all around the whole track of the Coliseum holding hands. And people didn't care who they, because nobody knew them. They hadn't established themselves as having a reputation for beating folks up as of yet. They came out them stands to go to dance, and the brothers who they deputized, the local brothers, start beating folks behind. They were people up, and that didn't work. In fact, it got so bad, LAPD threw their hands up, just walked behind the stage and sat there. just sat there. And then Jesse realized he made a mistake, and he called the LAPD back down to help guard the track. And that was something I witnessed myself. But if you ever see the video from the Watch Stacks, you won't see that. But again, I was there, and anybody else who was there probably remember the same thing. That was like the Crips debut.
Who was harder to deal with back then, Lonzo? The LAPD, as a black man, of course. Who was harder to deal with, the LAPD or the Compton PD?
Man, Compton never gave me no problems. The sheriff, the question should be the sheriff or LAPD. That was the two reigning forces for the black community: the sheriff versus the LAPD. And it all depends on where you were and who you were. You might have a different opinion. I grew up in LA County, in the unincorporated area of LA. So I dealt with the sheriff all the time, and they gave us the blues from the time we was kids till I was 24, 25 years old, man. But I've heard my grandmother lived in the LAPD, and her neighbor, I remember he got a brand new Thunderbird. He worked at one of them, I think it was the post office. One of them, a brand new Thunderbird convertible, and they beat this guy's butt because he had a brand new Thunderbird for no reason. LAPD. I remember that because, man, it was my grandmother's next door neighbor and his kids, and I played together all the time. And I remember him being all bandaged up, and then my daddy talking to him about what happened. He said, "Man, they just pulled me over, and next thing they started beating on me because I had a brand new car." And my old man had we had a '64 Cadillac, and most of the time my daddy would ride. But he went to certain places. It was a family affair, baby. Everybody in the mama, everybody in the car. He said, "Nah, we're not doing that." So yeah.
You even said there was a certain area that your pops, and good looking out, OG Steve. Shout out to Bronx. He says, "Salute Lonzo and Dusty. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Much love, brother. Love you." Hey, you mentioned there was a certain section. Maybe it was Imperial. I can't remember where you said your pops would avoid or something like that, right?
There was no 91 freeway back then. There was no 91. There was no 91, or there was no 105. So the main drag from Compton, from my house to Compton was Imperial Highway. And Imperial Highway would take you through Linwood. And it was known back then, you didn't go to Linwood. Keep your butt out of Linwood. Linwood was not to be played with when it came to black folks. And we had Sears, the old Compton swap meet used to be a Sears and Roebuck. And the fastest way to get there would go up Imperial Highway, but my old man made sure it was a family affair when we went to get our school clothes. I see you, OG Steve. Thank you, Doc. My old man made sure it was a family affair going to Sears and Roebuck to get them school clothes for St. Albert's. And at that time, Sears was the only spot that sold the Catholic school uniforms. So we had to go to Sears to get our school clothes. And like I said, Rosecrans was around, but it wasn't like it ain't the streets you know right now. So Imperial Highway was the closest thing we had to a freeway from El Segundo. From Main Street to Long Beach Boulevard.
All right, Lonzo, I got a question for you that may ruffle some feathers. If Martin Luther King were alive today, what would he think about the state of black people? And before you answer that, I mean black people, not niggas. We know niggas are a small percentage of the black community. But what would he think as black people in 2026 as a whole?
A lot of y'all fell off. Y'all stop moving. I just had a conversation while you were coming on the call, talking to a pastor I just got introduced to. And we were talking about how a lot of folks have been on a treadmill of life. Treadmill. We moving, but anybody going nowhere. We know we don't have the unity, the community, and a lot of people are moving individually, but not collectively, and that's the difference. We used to move collectively, now we move individually. And there's a lot of people that are individually successful, but it has very little success, very little effect on us in general, and that's the part that people don't understand.
Yeah, that's facts. I gotta drop a little applause for that game right there. You said individually, yeah. I mean, because that's one thing other communities have, and I see it with my own eyes. They come to this country and they hook up with their people, and next thing you know, everybody's in the community doing this, doing that, and they're building a community, man. It's something that we just, I mean, we were headed there at one point. Obviously, we had Black Wall Street, you know, we stood up for our civil rights and stuff like that. But what is it in 2026 that we're all just, not all of us, that we're seen as being individuals and not a community?
We got one side, in my opinion only, you got one side feel they owe something. And another side feels that may feel that they don't want to listen. Some people may interpret one person's education or position as being better than them. And everybody wants to be the leader. You ever notice, you think about that, roll through the Black community, see how many churches there are. It's a ton of churches. Roll to the Jewish community, see how many synagogues there are.
Damn.
You ain't gonna find a bunch of synagogues. You ain't gonna find it. We're gonna find one big synagogue in the area, and you don't know who the rabbi in charge. You don't know who he is. I don't know who he is, but we got mega churches everywhere, and all the pastors, all the churches, pastors of the churches are very popular people. But I'm trying to figure out what part of this is benefiting the community. I understand it keeps people in a certain mindset, but where is the mass benefit? Or is it only people in that congregation going to benefit? That don't do us no good.
Damn.
If only your congregation is benefiting, if you ain't hooking up with other pastors that's making things happen as a collective, again, we're going back to that that's just the separative situation where some folks it's all about me and mine. Okay, there's no collective effort to make anything happen. Well, back in the 60s, man, the churches used to be where all the political moves were made. That's how you got a Martin Luther King. The churches didn't have a problem talking about politics, but when Lyndon Johnson got into office in I think it was '68 or whatever it was, after Nixon stepped down or was resigned, one of the first things he did was made it illegal to talk about politics in church. If you talk about politics in church, you're gonna lose your nonprofit status, and that's how you got your prosperity preachers. The whole thing changed from politics to prosperity. That's how you got your Reverend Ike. And oddly enough, Reverend Ike is related to me some way, form, or fashion. He lived with us for about a month before he blew up. That's no lie. That is no lie. Okay? He was related to my dad. That's no lie. And because I was a kid. I remember him working and telling me all this stuff. And he was always trying to tell me about this and this and this. And I'm 12, maybe 13 years old, right through my one ear and out the other. And I never forget he left. I think he had gotten in trouble or something. And he was trying to chill out till he was able to go back home. And when he went back about 6-7 months later, my mom and dad was watching television. It was like watching Forrest Gump. Hey, ain't that? Yeah, that's Isaac. That's his name, Isaac. They call him Reverend Ike, but yeah, Isaac. The same cat that lived with us for a month to work with my dad. He did not like working with my dad because my dad back then he was doing manual labor, and Isaac was not about that right there. Well, man, that's the laziest. That's what he used the word. That's the laziest thing I've seen all my life.
I know you went to Catholic school, Lonzo, but were your parents Catholic? Were you raised
Nope.
Catholic?
Nope.
No, huh? That's
Nobody
why,
in my
yeah. Just a
family was
better
Catholic.
school? Is that what it was?
And we went there for the education, Doc.
Yeah, most people do.
And
Yeah, even to this day.
my mom was from Louisiana, so a lot of Catholics in Louisiana. Okay, you got a lot of what you call them,
Protestant?
light skinned people. What you call them?
Oh, you talking about Creole?
The Creoles.
Okay, yeah.
The Creoles come under the Catholic, kind of follow the Catholic religion. So my mom wasn't Creole, but she was light skinned. My grandmother was very light skinned, very fair skinned lady with long black hair. So maybe I got more Creole than I realized. My daddy was dark, so I got a little more chocolate in my milk. Anyway, my mom wanted us to have a good education, so they put us in Catholic school, and for the most part, it worked. Because by the time I got to Vanguard, they thought I was a damn genius. They were teaching me in the 7th grade. I learned in the 5th grade at Vanguard. I mean, at the Catholic school.
Yep. That's funny. I had kind of the same experience when I went to middle school. They were like, "Damn, man, they trying to push me ahead and everything."
Yeah.
I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna ride this shit, baby. I'm gonna get all A's. I'm gonna ride this shit."
Knocking that shit out the park. I was getting C's and D's in Catholic school. I went to Vanguard. I was an A student. Hey, but it's a genius. My mom said, "We're gonna move him." No, leave him right there. Don't take him no place. Leave him right there. Okay, real
That's
talk.
Funny. All right, let's fast forward to your teenage years, early 20s, whenever this was the thing. But Malcolm versus Martin. Let's go into it a little bit more, Lonzo. What made you gravitate more towards the Malcolm side? I believe you have mentioned that you were more leaning towards his theory of things, right? Did I have that correctly?
Yeah, man, because it looked from the surface, it looked like Martin was losing. You know, you got water hoses, you got dogs, you got beatings, and Malcolm kind of had folks. You know, he had his problems like everybody else did, but he had a different philosophy. And watching the Black Panthers coming up as a kid, and that whole situation, it looked like you might have to go to work here because they're not listening to this nonviolence thing. If you ain't putting something on somebody, putting something on you, you're just gonna be a crash dummy. And that's just, as a kid, it just felt wrong, man, to see somebody get beat and have dogs bite him in the ass. That just didn't seem right, even as a kid. I never seen anything that Malcolm X folks may have done. I can't recall any acts of violence, but it just he had a different attitude. If you bring it, I'm gonna give it back to you, and that just seemed like a more of a manly way to look at it. At Catholic school, here's something else. At Catholic school, I was taught to turn the other cheek. I kept getting beat up at Catholic school. I get kicked in the right side of my ass. I turn the cheek. They kick me in my left side of my ass. This is not working, okay? So I'm ready to try something different. And here's something else. As I'm sitting here talking to you right now, it just dawned on me. It wasn't until I started fighting back, they left me alone. It wasn't until I started fighting back till they left me alone. All when I was in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, 5th grade. Turning the cheek. They kicked me in the left side of my ass, turn the cheek, they kicked me in the right side of my ass. They slapped me in the back of my head. I was bullied all my life as a kid, dude. I was a skinny kid. I was bullied all my life. And my old man, I got jumped on. I got beat up by a girl one day. My mom said, I can't take this no more. My son is not going to keep on get beat up by no girls. I got beat up by a girl. And my man, like, hell no. Took me behind the garage and showed me some moves. Showed me the windmill. He showed me the kick in the shin, kicking the nuts, and hit him in the nose. Okay? Next time somebody pick on you, this is what you do. And if you do it, and like I tell you, if you have a problem, I'll come to school. And sure enough, about 2 or 3 days later, I got into it and I did exactly what he said. And I became the king of the school. Windmill the dude, hit him in the nose, kicked him in the nuts, and just kept on hitting him. They couldn't believe I never fought back. I never fought back. When I fought back, they thought I was crazy. They took me to the principal's office. He was fighting. Now, the guy I beat up had a brother. The brother couldn't believe that Stick, that was my nickname in Catholic school, Stick beat somebody up. So he jumped at me. I whooped his ass. Now, I'm not looking for no fights. I just ain't taking no ass whoopings. I can't, my old man, I'm scared of my daddy, okay? It's either you or him, okay? I'm gonna make you a victim, sir. And that's how I got kicked out of Catholic school. Nobody can believe after all these years, Stick was fighting back and winning. Stick was fighting back and winning. And they put a dude on me that almost killed me. This is honest to God truth. The last fight I had at St. Albert's, I almost got killed. This dude beat the shit out of me. For real. This dude beat the shit out of me over nothing. It's like somebody put him on me. And I was playing basketball and it was some little stuff around there. And all of a sudden he just kept on coming at me. I'm like, dude, it was bigger. The kid was bigger than me. And I wasn't trying to fight him, but he just made sure he found a reason to jump on me. And he beat me so bad. The retina in my eye was scratched. My whole eye, the white of my eye turned red on one side. Just like I had a cherry with a pupil in it. He hit me so many times in my forehead. Whatever was up here was pushed down to my nose. I was all swollen up. He beat the shit out of me, dude. He beat the shit out of me. And here's the crazy part. I got kicked out of school. So I went to Vanguard. I saw this dude a couple years later. I'll never forget him. Name is Michael Limbrick. I'll never forget him as long as I live. I saw him at a liquor store. Me and my buddy saw him at a liquor store. And my buddy lived in his neighborhood. And I says, that's that dude that beat me up back at St. Albert's, man. He said, Michael? I said, yeah, man, I should get that fool. He said, man, that fool just got out of YA for damn near killing somebody. I said, no shit.
Damn. Let's keep on pushing.
I'm going to take this L, okay?
Yeah, let's keep it pushing. Let me go to get a double cheeseburger, please.
Yeah. I tell you what, he died about a year later. I had to do nothing to him. He died about a year later. Real talk.
Damn.
Yep.
Deep story. All right, so 1992, going back to the Malcolm thing, 1992, Spike Lee releases X, featuring a young Denzel Washington. What were your thoughts when you first saw that movie? Man,
that's one of my favorite movies, dude. The beginning, when they was all out there doing their dirt, out there in them zoot suits, walking all crazy and stuff, him and Spike and Denzel with the big ass bozo suits on. And the funniest scene of the whole movie is when the cops busted in, they was getting them perms and they cut the water off and they had to put their heads in the toilet. That was hilarious. Okay. And see his transformation, man, because he was on that cocaine and white women, and when he went down, everybody squared up except when he went down, he squared up. And when he left town, come back home, but Delray Lindo, guy he left town running behind, he had a stroke. He was all messed up. And that whole lifestyle just shows you how easy you can get caught up. It was a simple misunderstanding. The dude was right when the number he had won, and they accused him of stealing. He was right. I watched the movie specifically for that. He had the right number. He had it boxed, whatever they called it. They had it boxed, whatever the 262, whatever the case may be, whatever the number was. He had it right, and they didn't want to pay him. and he left town. When he came back, a different guy. Everything was different, man. The white woman married, she married some guy, feeding him food, and homeboy living in a dump with a stroke. You know, it just shows you how things evolve, man. You know, what is cool today might not be cool tomorrow, man.
Yeah. Classic movie. It's a good time. All the merchandise that was sold, I was rocking all that stuff, man. I had no idea about anything about Malcolm X, but as a 12-year-old, I was rocking that shit.
Now check this out. You ain't seen nothing like that since then, have you?
Nope.
You ain't seen nothing else like that since that 1992. How many years ago? That's 30-something years ago?
Yeah, you have 30, not seen 34.
34? Yeah, 34 years ago. You have not seen anything remotely like that since then. All you have seen is a lot of stuff about a lot of gangsters, a lot of folks getting killed on TV every day. Okay, and I'm gonna say this right here, man. Whew, I might get canceled. Y'all might not like me no more. I was just watching Landman. You watch Landman?
Talked about it. My brothers told me to watch it. It's in my queue. I haven't got there yet, though.
I watched Power. I watched Power Next Generation. I watched BMF. I watched all of them. I watched Tommy Force, and I noticed there's a major difference in black TV versus white TV. I watched all the Queen's Men. I've watched all the black shows, or not all of, a lot of the black shows that are popular. And there's always one thing they all got in common. They have no respect for life. They'll kill a brother in a heartbeat in a black movie. I'm waiting for somebody two people died that I know of so far in Landman. Well, the whole crew died in the beginning. Accident, no murders. Millions of dollars is being made, millions of dollars being spent. A guy just died this week. He died from a heart attack. I don't recall anybody getting shot or any real. Oh, yeah, somebody did.
And Landman is about the oil industry down.
The oil industry, yeah, right.
Yeah,
and they got some dope dealers involved in this too now. But they so high up, they don't even see the product. What I'm saying is, man, it seems to me that our entertainment is always programmed to the same thing over and over again. It's always the same thing. I got love for 50 Cent, man. I ain't got nothing but love. He put a lot of people to work, but all the shows are the same thing. It's gonna be 4 or 5 brothers a day, 4 or 5 brothers an episode getting shot and killed. Is art imitating life, or is life imitating art? I tell you what, you ain't seen. You ain't seen nobody get a check for $18 million to start an oil company. That was the latest thing yesterday. Yeah, if you watch it, you'll see the progression of the show, how this shit jumps off. And I'm just using this as an example because all the big money players on black TV got their money from dope. All of them. And nobody leaves the episode alive but the white guy. Only all them brothers got killed. All them other white. It reminded me of when I was a kid watching Tarzan. How is this one white man coming to the jungle wearing a diaper, running all these black folks who've been there forever? He talked to the animals. He got the monkeys. He got monkeys rolling with him and shit. But then this one black dude come to the jungle. They home field and start running shit. Tommy was passing through Detroit, headed to wherever, and ended up staying there, ended up running everything. Killed the dope, his partner ended up dead. The Serbians ended up dead. All of them gone except for one. The son's still around. The mayor candidate dead. Her husband dead. And he still, all them bullets flying, ain't one hit him yet. His girlfriends have been killed. Dude, I understand this is entertainment, but the message is still the same.
Yep. Dropping some game tonight. We're about halfway through the show, so let's go on and reset and tell everybody to hit that like button. Thank you guys for joining the program. And if you like what you hear, it's your first time joining the channel, please hit that subscribe button. You are tuned in to N.W.A. Stories with Alonzo. That is Alonzo Williams, the godfather of West Coast hip hop. I am Dusty Vision. Join me at 7 o'clock right after this show on my channel. We're going to be talking about Ice-T. We're going to break down his career. We're going to talk about colors. We're going to talk about 6 in the morning. We're going to talk about breaking. So please join me at 7. I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and I would love for you all to join me over there as soon as this show is over at 7 p.m. Lonzo, tell them about Band Buzz.
Hey, man, Band Buzz, if you're an artist trying to sell your music, keyword here is sell your music. If you have a product, if you're gigging and you want people to see you backstage, have a meet and greet online. If you want to have paid video calls and get your money right away, Band Buzz is for you. Now, if you're happy with streaming your product and letting people hear your stuff 50 times to get a penny, that's cool. That's cool with you. If it floats your boat, may it sail around the world. All I'm saying is, if you really want to get some money, get paid for your product, get paid for your content, check out Band Buzz, folks. Band Buzz is available on Google Play and the Apple Store. It's an app that you download for free. Upload your music. People can purchase your music directly from you. No middleman, nothing. Band Buzz does charge a fee, distribution. That's part of the game. But you can sell your music to your clientele immediately and get paid instantaneously, just like Cash App, folks. Band Buzz. Google Play, Apple Store. I just did a video for them the other day. It should be up shortly. And as soon as they get them, I'm gonna run that commercial right on our platform. We can get the word out about Band Buzz. If you're happy with your music being streamed and everybody making money on your content, that's fine. Sell it. Let them do what they want to do. But if you want to get paid per sale at a price that you set, whether it be $1, 50 cents, $5, you can do like Nipsey Hussle did. Sell your album for $100. You can sell for $100 if you want to, just like Nipsey did back in the day. Y'all remember that, right? Nipsey sold his album for $100 a piece.
Hell yeah.
His album selling 1,000 of them for $100 a piece, and Jay-Z bought them. They was all right. They was all right. But again, if you want to do that, that's fine. But if you want to have an impact, be able to pay some bills with your money for your content. Now, here's the catch. Here's the catch. You got to have something somebody wants to buy. Just because you got music on your phone don't mean it's going to be good music. Now, if your music ain't sales ready, you're just trying to get some opinions, stick with Spotify, stick with whatever you like. But if you're ready to sell your music to your clientele, you have a fan base that wants to do a meet and greet, do a paid video call with you, that's fine. And you can do this some of the stuff on Instagram Live. You're gonna get paid. And when you gonna get paid? All right, check out Band Buzz, folks. Google Play and the Apple Store. Peace.
Band Buzz, baby. All right, let's keep it pushing. Lonzo, you sent me a clip earlier this week of radio legend Angie Martinez talking with Ice Cube and Sir Jinx. I don't have the clip queued up. I wasn't specifically sure what you wanted to discuss, but I gave it a listen, put down a few questions, and figured this might be a good time to just break down early Ice Cube, talk about Sir Jinx and CIA. Before we break down CIA, let's start with Sir Jinx. What can you tell us about Sir Jinx?
Sir Jinx is Dr. Dre's cousin. Him, Cube, and KD were all same, live in the same lot. That was the group I had signed the crew cut called CIA. They later became, first they were called the Stereo Crew. Then they became CIA. Got them signed the crew cut, and Sir Jinx is Dre's. He was a dancer. He's a dancing fool right to this day. And he's Dre's cousin, and later became a producer. And don't know what happened to him and Cube, but whatever it is, they don't work together no more. So I'm gonna leave it like that.
What was some of Sir Jinx's talents?
Dancing, talk, and working my goddamn nerves. He was a master at working my nerves. Okay, he was a master. You ever see somebody just dance all the time? Yeah, Lonzo, how you doing, man? He was that dude, man. Yeah, Lonzo, I'm gonna be doing. I'm doing this right here. You sit your ass. I'm getting dizzy talking to your ass. Calm down. And he's actually the reason why I have the moniker N.W.A. It was once asked, what does N.W.A. stand for? And Jinx said, niggas without Lonzo. Thank you, Jinx. Yeah, he's the one that said that first. And that was 10 years ago. And when I did my book, I decided, you know what? I'm going to keep that and use it against them.
Now, their early sound was very Beastie Boyish, right?
Right.
Yeah. Can you talk to us a little bit about how they were, what you remember, obviously, about them trying to find their style?
Well, Beastie Boys was the hottest thing going at that time, man. And we never had a West Coast version of Beastie Boys. And these guys, they were young, they were excited to be in the game, and they figured by imitating the Beastie Boys may be a good way to get into the game. And I did 3 cuts on them. One is called Illin and Cash or something. The album gonna pop up. I forgot the name of the songs. And the first thing, here's the crazy part. As soon as Cube got signed to Priority Records, the first thing he did was bought that record from me. Brian, I need to get that mastering and publishing and get that off the streets. Okay.
Wow.
First thing they did. And the reason why I sent you the clip is because I just hate seeing creative history told, man. And again, I'm not going to hold them to it completely because when they won this contest, I had already had a potential deal for them waiting at CBS. But in the video, Drake said he's going to put us on. Drake ain't put nobody on. Drake wasn't even on yet. I just hate I dislike the fact.
Explain the contest. Let's break that part down, Lonzo. Explain the contest that led to.
Back in the day, radio stations like K-Day would hold contests, Best of the West contest. And that's when hip hop was brand new and they were still trying to find artists, whatever. I hosted contests. I was judges for thousands of contests. And this one right here was pretty big because it was being held by K-Day. K-Day is a big radio station. And I think the semifinals or the finals were at the Olympic Auditorium, downtown LA. And Olympic Auditorium, where they did all the roller derby and the wrestling back in the day. If you remember all the Bobo Baziers and Junkyard Dog wrestlers and stuff like that, before it was WWE, WWF, that's what they did it downtown. Okay, and you can rent the room and do events. And they eventually, I think it was K-Day booked it and did the Best of the West contest, the finals, and Cube and them lost to Champagne. Was it? It lost to it was a group called Shampoo, Press and Curl. That was the group they lost to. Shampoo, Press and Curl. These guys were out of Washington. They was hot. They wasn't hot. They was hot, but they wasn't that hot. But they were the favorite because they was from Washington. Washington High School, that is.
I've never heard of Shampoo, Press, and Curl. Do you know anything about where their story went?
I heard one of them is dead, one of them's in jail, and the other one I have no idea. I never knew which one was which. I asked about them before, and somebody that knew them that went to Washington said one of them ended up in jail, another one ended up he passed for whatever reason, and the other guy nobody's seen.
Damn, I'm gonna have to go down that rabbit hole. Lonzo, you just taught me something new. Shampoo, Press, and Curl. I'm gonna definitely look that up.
Doobie Funk said something. He making a lot of sense. He say they were hell of a dancers, and that's what made them really stand out, because they had their own little dance they would do, and the girls loved it. They loved it. Yeah. Yeah. They were.
Mr. Light says, didn't they do some of the Best of the West at Proud Bird?
They probably did. They probably did because the Proud Bird would hold. They would hold in contests there. In fact, That's the one that Disco Daddy claimed he beat Ice-T in back in the 70s. Yeah, they definitely did hold some of those contests preliminaries at Carolina West.
Okay. Proud Bird, that was by the airport?
Right there off of La Cienega, right next where there's a
Yeah.
there is a what's that place called? Burger King. There's a hamburger spot. Carl's Jr., probably the most unpopular hamburger spot in the world, is still there. It used to be a strip club, a strip club in Carolina West.
Damn. Yeah, that's okay.
At the Carolina West, the girls got it in the 18, guys had to be 21.
Guys at 18, they don't know how to act around, and women are a little bit, they mature a little bit faster.
They knew by having more girls, they would get more guys. See, back then, man, the clubs knew how to put people in seats, dude. They knew by letting them girls in at 18. They still couldn't drink, but they would have so many girls there because that was the only adult club that did anything like that, and the guys just flocked to the club. And they would stay open all night. They would take the liquor up at 4 o'clock, at 2 o'clock at 2 a.m. is last call, and the music kept going. The music kept going. Carolina opened at 9 o'clock. They closed at 9 o'clock. They just stopped selling liquor from 2 in the morning to 6 in the morning. That's the law. That's the California state law. You cannot sell liquor between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. 6:01 a.m. you can sell liquor again.
Now, in this Angie Martinez video, Cube stated Cabbage Patch was, quote, their first hit, and he was referring to World Class Wrecking Crew. How true of a statement is that?
Not really. It's Juice and Surgery wasn't no slouches, and these are what turned out to Lovers. Lovers was our first hit. I mean, Juice and Surgery were great records. They got airplay. They got a lot of club play. But what got us the most play and got us most recognized was Lovers. And that was way before Cabbage Patch. We had, see, again, Cube wouldn't know that because Cube didn't he didn't join us till after our CBS album. Cube wasn't around when we did our first, he might have been around, but he wasn't paying Lovers no attention. He was 15 years old. So he could say that and not, and speak, he could say it confidently, but he don't understand the chain of events or lineage of our discography to understand what he's talking about. Yes, it was a good record. It was the first record he did for us that that had any numbers to it. But we already had numbers. That's how we got our CBS deal. We had he had 2 hit records before that's how we got to CBS. Surgery and Juice and Lovers were big enough to warrant us getting a record deal from CBS in '84. We dropped Cabbage Patch in '86. 86. We dropped Cabbage Patch after we left CBS and came back to Macola. Before we dropped Turn Off the Lights.
Someone wants to know, regarding your career, do you have any regrets?
Oh, man, you know what? I can sit here and tell y'all yes. I can tell you no. I don't know, Doc. I regret not getting the money like everybody else did, but I've come to realize that pioneers, so in some cases, don't get paid the way everybody else does. Just like Muhammad Ali, he was, I think, as a boxer, his biggest purse maybe $1 million.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they get that to a homeboy for fighting somebody. They give him $40 million. Jake, what's his name?
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. They give him that fight somebody on some bullshit. So the game was a little bit different back then. Being a pioneer has its privileges and it's a problem. One of the problems is you might not get the financial recognition that you get to later on in life. Okay. The beauty of it is you're a part of history. Now, if you're here strictly for the legacy, you paid. But if you're like me and you want a few dollars, you need to get broke off.
Yeah, it's like that with a lot of sports. I mean, basketball. Magic Johnson thought back in 1980 that a 20-year, $20 million contract was the shit.
Right.
And now people are getting $50 million a year, $80 million, crazy numbers.
Right. So that's the only problem about doing stuff, especially at that time. Hip hop was not supposed to live past 95. Hip hop was not designed, this is why we had to do everything on the West Coast. This is why I say West Coast hip hop was an anchor for all hip hop. Yes, it was created first in New York. And everybody would tell you, labels like Def Jam was catching hell till they signed Warren G. Till they signed South Central Cartel. Def Jam, because most New York hip hop don't have a dance floor beat to it. It's not dance music. And one thing about our stuff on the West Coast, because most of you guys, Egyptian Lover, LA Dream Team, Wrecking Crew, Dr. Dre, DJ Yella, we're all DJs. So when we go to the studio, we have a motivation to make our clientele dance. West Coast, the East Coast, not the same. They have good DJs, don't get me wrong. But I never danced to a Public Enemy song. Great MCs, same thing with KRS-One. Great lyricists, a lot of knowledge. You ever play one of them songs and dance to it? So our records not only penetrated radio, we penetrated the clubs as well. And because we were all DJs and because we were all entrepreneurs, everybody on the West Coast, if you wanted to make a record, you got to make it your damn self. Well, nobody passing out record deals for West Coast artists. So we have a whole different DNA when it comes to being successful. We are all entrepreneurs. If you wanted to have a record deal on the West Coast in the 80s, you had to be an entrepreneur or you wasn't gonna make it.
Marlon wants to know, what year did you drop The Planet and on what album?
Planet was on the first album, 1984. It was on our first World Class album.
The Planet. Tell us about that song.
We were on some celestial shit at that time. So Celestial Robots. The Planet that record was like 9 minutes long. The Planet and Gang Bang was two of the longest songs we ever did. It was something that, it was one of them songs, man, that at that time, with the Oberheim system, we had a lot of computerized music that the computerized sounds that we used to make our music. We had the vocoder, we had this arpeggiator, it sounded like R2-D2. And having these sounds available just led us towards making a song called The Planet, because it sounded like something you would play in the 21st Odyssey or some shit.
I know you've mentioned this before, but can you remind us what the reasoning was behind making long songs, like 8-9 minute songs?
You got tired of making all the, you got tired of recording all the stuff. That's why. You just got, you know what, man? Some of the most fun you can have is in the studio. Some of the most boring times you can have is in the studio. Okay? So once you got a groove that you like, and we thought we had a knee deep, to be honest with you. That's why we made it so long. We figured you only got 21 minutes of sound on a record. 21 minutes on each side. Okay? So we dropped, we had Surgery, Juice, Lovers, World Class, Gang Bang, and The Planet. We had 6 songs in that album. Yeah.
Big homie says the Coke was good. Probably a lot better. I'm sure a lot better than it is nowadays.
You know what? Stop. Stop right there. We're going to leave that alone right there. Okay?
Oh, that's funny. Let's see. Someone said went to a party in West LA. Okay, that was the Cabbage Patch song. So did that song get over with the crowds when you performed it? Because I know you guys, you guys performed this back a couple months back, right? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. But the song that people like the most, our favorite songs, people love The Fly and Turn Off the Lights. Everybody knows all the songs. They know Surgery, they know Cabbage Patch, but when we ready to close it, the funkiest song we got is there's The Fly. The bass line is big. And it's fun. And we end the show and Turn Off the Lights because that's our most popular song. But we walk off stage doing The Fly. People loved it.
Okay. Now, I have a note here. You mentioned something recently about you throwing a party at the Queen Mary, or maybe I heard it on an interview or something like that. I wanted to dive deeper into that. Can you tell us about the holiday party you threw at the Queen Mary back in the day?
One of the things I would do to keep the Eve relevant is I never just depended on the Eve to make my money. I'd always give parties other places and bring the after party back to the Eve. Because the Eve closed at 5 o'clock, sometimes 6 o'clock. So I hooked up a deal with the Queen Mary out there in Long Beach. And I was giving dances out there, man. And I never had no partners on my dances. I had a team, but I had no partners. And the Queen Mary, we had our first one was in the Queen's ballroom. We had about 700 people in that summer gun, man. It was rocking. We literally had that boat floats. You can feel it. You can feel it. You can feel it just a little bit. You can feel it. And I had so much money that night, man. I grabbed the money and told my girl I'll be back. I'm going home. I shot down the 110 freeway to the pad, dropped the money off, went to the club, made another pile of money. I was on fire. And I went back that Monday and booked another date. The biggest one we had at the Queen Mary, they wouldn't let us have the room no more. We had to go have our party outside on the tip of the boat, outside. Oh my God, it was beautiful, dude. We're outside on the tip of the boat, and I got about 1,100, 1,200 people, dude. That was one of the biggest outside parties of our time. And got the whole harbor. We're outside on the tip of the Queen Mary. Sounds is banging. My boy Eric brought some banging sounds out there. Dre wasn't with us. I don't think Dre was with me at this time. I still had, was Dre? It was just Yella clientele. I don't know if Dre had, Yella and Unknown, I don't think Dre had made to the crew at this time. I don't think so. The Dre came last. And the Queen Mary just off the chain again. Dude, I got so much money. I'm scared. I know somebody was following me, and I got a briefcase. I had to just chug it down with the money. Locked it, took off running. And got home, everything was cool. Went back to the club, made another bag of money. Went back to the Queen Mary that Monday, and they loved this because my crowds, one thing about when I gave dances, whether the Queen Mary, the Biltmore, whatever the case may be, my crowds always behaved themselves. We was always welcome back. Oh, you guys are so great. No problem whatsoever. So they gave me multiple dates. And what I do my dates on Sundays before the holiday. Like if it was if I was doing dances, I'd have given a dance last night. If everybody's off on Monday, nobody got to go to school. So I made my money. It's no impact. I had, I think I had Labor Day and Memorial Day and some other days locked in. And my competition, Roger Clayton, rest his soul, called the Queen Mary and told them I was taking posters from Pacific Coast Highway to Pico. And I was expecting 2,000 people, and the venue only held 1,000 or something like that. The lady called me back and told me to pick up my deposits. They had a call from the fire department. And I'm not saying this because the brother did. He told me he did it. He told me he did it. Yeah, nigga, you're getting too big. I had to break you down. You're getting too big. No, you're too big. You're too big. Huh? I got his ass back, bro. That's another subject.
Damn, I want to do a lot more on your rivalry and relationship and things like that with Uncle Jam's Army. So I'm gonna put some questions together and we'll talk about that next week. But that's it, Lonzo, man, that hour flew by. Please, everybody hit that like button if you haven't already. Just smash that like button. If you're feeling generous, there's a little $ right there in the chat. Shoot the channel a few bucks. We would really, really appreciate that. And once again, hit that subscribe button if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear. I'm going to head over to my channel right now. I'm going to post a link in the description. We're going to be talking about Ice-T, so join me. We're going to be breaking down the history of Ice-T, one of the GOATs in West Coast hip-hop history. Any last words, Lonzo, or you want to hit him with that outro?
For those who never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre in the surgery, stuck Ice Cube in the freezer until they got cold. On the eve after dark, 50-yard line to the Super Bowl. In the movie Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap. Don't believe that Hollywood bullshit because it was all cap. My history goes deeper than you will ever know. Just remember that N.W.A. stands for Not Without Alonzo. Peace, y'all.
Welcome to N.W.A. story with Lonzo, the godfather of the West Coast. Now you know, with Dusty Vision on the side, we ride, taking you back to where legends came alive. From ruthless roots to the studio scene, classic tales that the world's never seen. Every Tuesday night we spark the heat, from 6 to 7, history on repeat. So sit back, tap in, and enjoy the vibe. If you love hip hop, like and subscribe.